Hello everyone. Today we will be looking at file inclusion. So I am using the same Docker image that I have been talking about for some time now. We will again look at DVWA application and see how the file inclusion works. So first things first, we'll set the DVWA security to low and then go to file inclusion page. So now here, as we can see, there is a parameter which is taking the page parameter here. Okay, if you look at the view source, it's simply doing a underscore get page for file, and then it is just including the same here. Now if you have worked on Linux, then probably you already know this, but if you have not, then I'll show you some interesting thing here. So let's say that I create a directory A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay. Now I go to this A, B, C, D, E, F, and let me also do one thing. I'll also create a file here called AK, which has the content AK. Okay. Now if we go to this folder, then if we do here ls minus alrt, we can see that there are only two folders, dot and dot dot. These are the default folders which will be always there in any Linux folder that you see. Indicates the folder and dot dot indicates the parent folder. Now what this enables us to do is basically do a directory traversal. Now what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, if I do a cat of dot dot slash dot dot slash dot dot slash dot dot slash 1 2 3 4 5 and AK, I guess we need one more. Yes. Okay. So I am going back one time each. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 6 time. If I give dot dot slash, then it is going back 6 folders, and then I am viewing the AK. But what is also very interesting with this is that I don't need to know the exact numbers, right? Let me try to illustrate this to you. Now once I have given this, I can give this n number of times. This is twice here, and then I can give temp slash AK, and I still get 5 file contents. Why this happens? This happens because we have a, so if we go back to slash, and if you see pwd, I am in slash. Now here if I do a dot dot, there is no other folder, so I can do this n number of times, and I will still be in the same folder. So here after 6, whatever I have given are not useful, but after that I am giving temp AK, which allows me to read this file from temp. Why is this useful? This is very useful because if I am in any folder, doesn't matter how much depth it is, if I give sufficiently large number of dot dot slash and give the full path of the file that I want to read, then I will be able to read that file without actually knowing how many times I should go back, right? So here I didn't have to know that I am in 6 folders deep. Now when it comes to web servers, this becomes very useful, where www html. So if you see, I have few files here, but that doesn't matter, right? So what I am trying to tell you is that if I had similar mk directory here, and then I did this, then I am in a very deep down the web directory. But from looking at the web page, we will not know this. But if I find a file inclusion, I can always do this cat trick to get to this content of. Okay. The other thing that you also need to know is, when you go to etc, there is a passwd file. this is the file which contains all the users that are created on your Linux box. Now generally when you are doing a file inclusion, it is always a good idea to try with a file which is known to you, so that you can understand whether the file exists on the server or not. Now since we know that most of the Linux, not most, all of the Linux systems will always have etc passwd file, we can try by looking at this specific file, right? So now we already see that we are in a specific folder here. So let's try the same thing. We'll put in a bunch of dot slashes. I'll add a few extra and then add etc passwd. Okay, we can see that the etc password is shown here. This is good, but if you can see, it is very jumbled up and it is very difficult to read this content, right? If I can increase the font of my web browser, you will be able to see that I can read the contents of the etc password, but it is very jumbled up and it is very difficult to read here. Now the first thing that I can always do is go to right click and go to view page source, and I will be able to see it better here. But it's very difficult to do it this way also, right? So as usual, I'll keep telling you, one of the ways that you can do this is by going to burp and putting this on repeater, but as usual we will try to do this the manual way. So we will create fupload.sh, and first we need the URL. Let's copy the URL. So my URL is this. I'll remove the etc password from here, and we will take it as a user input. Okay, and then we need to get the cookie. If you want to see how we can get this cookie, you can look at the other video that I have posted on DVWA, where I go through a script in Bash which allows you to log into your DVWA with curl, and then use that cookie in the subsequent parts. But what we are really interested in is the PHP session ID. So let me grab that, if it will allow me to. Okay. Let me increase the. Okay, this is what we want. So we will say curl -h co cookies PHP session ID equals this, and also we need the security low, right? Okay, security equals low. Now with these two things, we should be able to do $URL/etc/password. If we run this, then we should be able to get the file, but we don't. Let's see, what have we done? I think again I messed up the -h. -b is the right one, I guess. This is something that I always keep missing, but we'll fix this. No. Okay. Curl. -b, right? But with -b, I don't need the cookies. I only need to give the actual cookies and not the this thing. Okay, I guess this should work. Okay, this works. Fantastic. So now we can see that we are getting the output. As usual, we have to clean it up because this will have the page as well, as you can see in the browser, that after the contents of the file, it's also showing the full page, right? So we don't want that. So let's open it in GVM so that I can have a GVM is not there. No issues. We'll still use Vim. My favorite anyways. So I can do a set. I want to start it. Let's look at the web page. So if I see this, doc type from here till end of line, till end of file, I want to delete everything. Let me open a new tab, a new terminal, and upload. Where is the file? /. Okay. Let me log in as root -f_upload. Okay, so this works great. We are getting the contents of the file. As usual, we want to silent curl so that we don't get the output from the curl when it is getting the file. So once we do that and run it, we should be able to see only the file. Now this will allow us to do the automation again in similar fashion to what we did last time, right? So while $response is not equal to quit, do curl done, and then I can change this etc password to $s, and I can read what is the file name that user wants to read. Enter the file name to read. And once I do that, if I run the command, it will ask me the file to read. I can say etc passwd, and I can get that. I can say etc shadow, and I can get that. I don't have permission, probably proc version, I can get that. So this has automated this to a certain extent, but with file upload you definitely want to probably read some list of files and then use that as your inputs. What this has also allowed us to do is do those. So let me create a list first. So I'll say flist dot text. I'll say etc passwd proc version. I can say flist. I have these two files. I can just pipe it to f. I have the script name itself wrong, but that's okay. And I can see that now I can read those two. Right now, if you see, it is reading the file and it is reading it. It is sending that request to the web server and getting those files. But what is missing is I don't see the file names here, right? So I can quickly add that as well. I can say echo displaying file $s, and if we run it again, then once it is done, so I am just trying to ensure that we don't run into a infinite loop once we are done, right? So I am setting a rest to begin, and then I go into this loop, and till that rest is not enter, it will keep reading the file and keep displaying it to you. So here you can see that it is displaying this file. Let's also put a few new lines here that will make it easier for us to read this, and then I can also add few dashes here that will enable us to see the file better, and you see the file looks much better. The output results already much better, right? So I can see that I am displaying the file etc password and also displaying the file prop version. Now we can extend this to next level, right? So once we have got the file, probably we also want to save it. So let's do this. Let's save it to content. What am I doing? Content is equal to this, and this will basically save my content in the content thing. So I can do this and then print the content to display it in my screen. If we run, we will see the same thing. There is not much difference. Okay, so let's see, can I do echo? Yes. Okay, so if we do echo, then you can see that basically it will print everything in a single line, whereas if we do printf -f, then it does that weird thing. So let's try with printf. It only displays the first line. Okay, let's try this anyways. So once I have displayed the content, probably I also want to save it, right? So I can try this echo $content, and I will put it to /temp/AA for now. Let's see how this looks like, right? And then we can see how to I'll put it as $A here, and you will see why I am doing that in a while. So if I run that, I get that output. Then I can go to this ls-alrt, and I have 3 files. The first one is the etc password we know. So if we look at it, we can see that the file has been saved correctly. It's only the display which doesn't do it correctly. It's only the echo command which doesn't fix it, right? So if we look at man echo, if we give -e, hopefully it will work. Let's try that. So now if we run this script, let's see what happens. No, it still doesn't do that. But that's okay. You can see how to fix it. But what we are trying to do here now is that this we want to send it to etc password, but we will not have that folder, right? So what we can do is very simple. Let's try to do this. What we will do is use this file name, which is res. We want to replace the slashes with underscore in the variable, and use that as the file name. Why are we doing that? We are doing that because that will change my variable name. Okay, so let me try to show this to you. My res is, let's say, etc password, then I can simply do this echo $res. This only will work on your bash. So if I am replacing this one single slash with the underscore and printing that /g. This with G. This. Okay. So what I am saying here is this is my delimiter which tells bash to change the variable and replace this. Basically 2 slashes tells that I should replace all of the occurrences. If I only give 1, it will only replace 1, whereas if I have 2 here, then it will replace all occurrences. And then this is basically I am escaping the slash and replacing it with underscore. Okay, so same thing we are going to do here. This will be 2 backslashes, then I am going to replace this with underscore, and I am going to do the same change here. I want to replace this with this. Okay, why did I quit out of it? So now if we run this command, then we can see that this is proc version. Okay, because I didn't give a underscore here. Okay, and this will be etc password. But if I do ls -lrt now, I can see that I have etc password file here, and this will have the contents of the remote file. Similarly, I will have the proc version here, which will have the version of the remote file here. So you can take this approach to do whatever you want to, and I am only showing it to you with a very small number of files in the flist.txt, but you can extend it to whatever option you want, and hence you can take it to next level with using something from payload all the things and running it for all the files in the payload all the list, right? And that way you can get the content of all the files that you can read from the remote file. That's what I wanted to show you today. Thank you.